Good morning. Thanks for attending my service on finding inner peace through meditation, mindfulness, and chanting. By a show of hands, how many people meditate? Wow, I'm in good company. While I do not claim to be an expert in any of these practices, today I will share with you how I'm using them to build a new way for me personally. First, what is inner peace? Inner peace is a state of mental and emotional calmness, serenity, and stability that remains constant despite external chaos, stress, or challenges. It is characterized by acceptance, mindfulness, and resilience, allowing you to manage emotions effectively rather than being easily triggered by life's ups and downs. With that explanation, let's start at the beginning. It's January 2025. Trump has been elected. I'm scared. I don't know what to expect. I'm worried that my worst fears are going to become reality. Sidebar, never in my wildest dreams could I have imagined how bad it would get. The world has become loud in a way that feels constant. News cycles churn endlessly, each headline more alarming than the last. There is a constant low hum of anxiety. Compare that with inner peace, and you see my problem. I wasn't in crisis, but I wasn't at ease either. And if national politics isn't enough to convince you of the need for inner peace, it's estimated that we have 60,000 thoughts a day, and 95% are the same ones we had yesterday. We live in a cocoon, obsessing about the same things over and over. It's like a cartoon where a man is about to drive into the desert and he sees a sign that says, "You and your tedious thoughts for the next 200 miles." Personally, I was looking for something, anything to help me navigate this new world, to still my mind and not get lost in the sea of despair. That desire was what led me to start exploring meditation, mindfulness, and chanting. And I'll tell you about the first two first. The first thing I tried was going to the Dharma Center for their Monday night meditation and Dharma talk. I didn't think of it as anything formal. I wasn't looking to become a Buddhist. What I was looking for was practical, something I could do, something I could try, something that might help me relate differently to my own mind. The few times were especially hard. I sat down, I closed my eyes, and immediately became aware of how busy my mind was. Thoughts came in rapid succession, things I needed to do, things I remembered, things I wanted, ... But somewhere in the instructions was a suggestion. When you notice your mind has wandered, simply bring it back to your breath. No judgment, just return, be kind to yourself. So I did that again and again. And I would follow one breath and maybe two and get lost, and then I'd notice and come back. Gradually, something shifted. I began to see that the practice wasn't about having no thoughts. It was about noticing them, naming them, and learning not to get completely carried away by them. That distinction, subtle as it was, felt important. Each week brought a new presenter with a new message. At times, I felt way in over my head. But most times I walked away with some nugget of understanding. I learned more of the teachings behind the practice. I learned about dukkha, the ever-constant threat of suffering in our daily lives, about impermanence, and that if everything is changing, even the things that trouble me are not permanent. Of course, none of this unfolded in a straight line. There were days when meditation felt pointless, when my mind was too agitated to settle, even slightly, and when my body couldn't calm down. Days when I was so exhausted, I slept through the whole presentation. I do have a propensity to fall asleep while meditating. Think about it. You're still, you're comfortable, you're focusing on your breath, You're calming your mind, your breathing slows, your head nods, and you're asleep. That's me. I have a funny story about that I can tell you in the talkback. What keeps me going is the simplicity of the practice. I don't need to believe in anything particular. How you is that? I just need to sit, breathe, and notice. One of the most meaningful aspects of starting this practice as a beginner was realizing that I didn't have to get it right. There was no perfect meditation session, no final state I needed to achieve. The practice itself was showing up, paying attention, starting again is enough. I attend every Monday night Dharma talk that I can, and in January, I also started a daily meditation practice, just 10 or 15 minutes in the morning. At first, I used YouTube and searched for 10-minute guided meditations, and there are a gazillion of them, and they're quite good. But more recently, a friend recommended Tara Brach. She has a free 40-day beginning mindfulness program that is so great that I'm now listening to it for the second time and learning new things all the time. Now I'm going to talk about my chanting practice. In 2025, around the same time that I started going to the Dharma Center, I started regularly attending Anna Poole's kirtan or chanting sessions. While providing similar benefits as meditation, chanting is a vocal versus a silent practice. Chanting can feel a little unusual at first, but it works on the mind in some very direct, almost physical ways. At its simplest, chanting gives the mind something to rest on. When you chant, whether it's a simple phrase, mantra, or even just a repeated sound, you're gently narrowing your attention to one thing. The repetition acts like an anchor. Instead of being pulled in 10 different directions, the mind begins to follow a simple rhythm. That alone can reduce the mental noise. But chanting isn't just mental, it's embodied. I'm going to repeat that because I think it's so important. Chanting isn't just mental, it's embodied and in the whole body. You're using your voice, your breath, and your hearing all at once. The sound vibrates in your chest, in your throat, and sometimes even your head. You can feel it deep within you. That physical sensation helps bring you out of abstract thinking and into direct experience. That is what I love about chanting. I lose myself. I vibrate internally. That's the best way I can describe it. In that sense, chanting is a bit like meditation, but often easier to stay with because it's more active. In fact, I never fall asleep while I'm chanting. So while it might seem like a spiritual act, there's also a very practical effect. Your body begins to calm, and the mind tends to follow. Another important aspect is repetition. At first, repeating the same words may feel monotonous, but after a while, the repetition becomes soothing. It reduces the need to decide what to think next. You're not searching for the next idea or reacting to the last one, you're simply continuing the mantra. For beginners, one of the biggest benefits of chanting is that it gives you something to do. Sitting in silence can be difficult when your mind is restless. Chanting offers a bridge. It channels that restless energy into a structured, repetitive activity. We're lucky to have Anna Poole here today with us, who will lead us through a chant. And she leads chants twice a month, including here in the sanctuary on the second Thursday. I highly recommend coming. Starting a meditation and chanting practice didn't solve all my problems by any means. It didn't remove uncertainty from the world or guarantee peace in every moment, but it's given me tools to meet those conditions differently. In a world that often feels increasingly disruptive, discovering another way of being can be the beginning of something steady, not perfect, but real and quietly transformative. For me, that pull towards inner peace is what keeps me going back for more. During our talk back, I'd love to hear about your experiences with any form of meditation you may practice and how you found it helpful. For instance, people say fly fishing and knitting and running are all very meditative, as are many other things we don't typically think of in those terms. That ends my story of building a new way. Thank you.